Hey, top of the morning to all the saints, anointed and soldiers of God out there. I forgot to show up my shirt. Look at that. My favorite Halloween superhero. so I'm doing this video because I had a very interesting talk with an elder last night. I was out and about. I ran into this elder. He's a painter. I forgot his name. But um, he was a well-studied man. Um, and he's studied under a lot of different teachers, and we were just kind of going back and forth about different things. And I just wanted to share with some of the stuff me and him was talking about. So we had a conversation about like when you're dealing with elders that might have different personality traits, and how you still supposed to honor your elders, and you're not supposed to, I guess he was trying to get me to understand that it's a certain way how you handle your elders, where you do think you always try to make sure you don't make an elder feel like you're disrespecting them or belittling them or something. And I get what he was saying. Um, it's funny when you're dealing with elders, you just kind of gotta. I always say lead with respect, guys. Always lead with respect, because you can always go any other direction when you're starting from a place of respect. So always lead with respect. And one thing I will say to you guys too, especially you young guys that are watching me, all your teachers and your elders, I mean, even when you get to college and even after college, mentors, elders, first of all, I want to say you need them. Because I don't know what some people on here trying to tell you you don't need like mentors or elders. You need them. But you do have to learn how to filter them, and you do have to know how to put people in the categories that they belong in your life. You know what I mean? But every successful person I know got elders and leaders and people that push against their way of thinking, or let them know when they're in the right track of thinking. You need those kind of elements in your life when you're trying to be successful, guys. Nobody is successful on an island by themselves. And so always keep mentors and leaders, but have discernment and know when somebody energy might be off, or if you're dealing with a certain mentor that just might think a certain kind of way, that might not be common to some of your other mentors or elders. You know what I'm saying? Um, but always keep some around. So we were talking about Egypt, and just we were talking about a bunch of different stuff, but it really just kind of boiled down to us getting into the Crusades. And um, so we were talking about how things are whitewashed, and how it messes up your psyche. And what it boiled down to is we're looking at the Crusades. We talked about a bunch of different stuff, but I'm just kind of pointing out the Crusades because I'm trying to point something out to you guys. Something good for you guys to kind of look at and analyze for yourselves. When you're dealing with white supremacy and just pushing of just whiteness, right? And you look at something like the Crusades. Now, when you look at the Christians, you have to look at that the Christians, again, like I said, their Egypt was Vikings. Their Egypt were like the Viking people, and uh, the Druids, and the Druids were the people that like worshipped Baal. Some Druids worship Baal, and they got a couple different gods, just like the Vikings got like a couple different gods. Um, but that was their Egypt. So they were conquering their Egypt and then bringing their Egypt into their numbers and making them submit to the God of Abraham. So then you got the Muslims. Now the Muslims are on the other side of the world. They're in Africa. Now they are over in Africa, and they're soaking up the Egyptians and just all the different people over there that are practicing different religions outside of the God of Abraham. Now, the Palestinians, like the ones that are being slaughtered right now, those guys say that back then in the Crusades, that the Israelites, the Jews, were black back then in the Crusades, because the Christians came to take over Jerusalem, Palestine, that area over there. The Muslims came in defense of the Israelite Jews to come help them and save them back in the Crusades. The issue is, when you're growing up, you get told and you get images that the white people were the Templars, the Christian Knights. You get told that the white people were the Israelites, Jews. You get told that the white people, and that some of the Muslims were fair-skinned, light-skinned. And this is what they push on us, to make us dark-skinned people feel like we had no place. It's impossible, guys. It's impossible for the Crusades to have happened. You got one group soaking up, I'm going to just say, all this whiteness. And you got this other group soaking up all this blackness. Then they're saying that the Israelites that were there were black-skinned. This is what the Palestinians be saying. They say that the Israelites back then in the Crusades were black-skinned, and then they came back white. That's what they say. And I'm in tune to believe them at this point in my life with the knowledge that I'm learning, because none of it makes sense. It only makes sense if you want to subscribe to the theory that white people were all three sides during the Crusades. Did you see how crazy you have to sound to tell yourself that? And I think that this is some of the sicknesses that's like ill in our world right now, is this white supremacy and people who don't want to acknowledge it and write history. And I rewrite history in its right perspective. Yes, rewrite history back to its right perspective. It is impossible that white people were the Christians, the Templars, the Israelites, and that the whole Muslims, all the Muslims were fair-skinned Muslims during the Crusades. That's impossible, guys. You see what I'm saying? So I just want you young men and women to know that. And if you claim any branch of the God of Abraham, do some research on this stuff. Know what you are. Know what you're representing. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm trying to say. I'm about to get back to my studies. I'll see you guys shortly. I hope you guys have a wonderful morning. Go pray. Later.